Good morning and welcome to a great 60 minutes of yoga. Just wanted to remind you about the usefulness of a broom handle in terms of keeping the SI joint, and there are two of them. So the sacroiliac joint, it's mostly a joint of stability, and it's needed when we're standing and when we're walking. We don't use it much when we're sitting. One of the reasons why we can get pain in the back of our sacral area. So we're going to talk about sitting, and there's lots of reasons for it, but I just wanted to remind you, I just think this is so useful, especially since I just injured my back, that when you take a broom handle, so I showed you this a few weeks ago, but if you take the handle above your head, and then right on your sacral area. This is just a way of remembering how to bend properly. So of course, they always say use your knees, but most often we just want to go, okay? This forces you, when this stick is along your back, it forces you to bend with your knees. And believe me, if you have a sore back, lower back, or an injury, this makes all the difference in the world. I'm speaking from experience right now. Okay, so I don't feel this lower back when I bend properly. Okay, so with those few words, let's get started. We're going to begin standing in Tadasana. Now, Tadasana is the basis of all standing poses. When we begin to practice our seated poses, Dandasana is the basis of all seating poses. So, there are basics in yoga that are important for all of you who think, well, I want more variety. Yes, of course. I just don't want you to miss the basics. Okay, so Tadasana, we do a lot of standing. Do we stand with one hip out to the side? Do we have our feet turned out, which means our hips are probably tight? Try to get your feet parallel, with the outsides of your feet parallel to the outsides of your mat. And then lift your toes off the floor and feel your big toe mount, your baby toe mount, and the center front of your heel all pressing and grounding into the earth. Now, I've lifted my toes off the floor because that helps me feel the bones, those toe mounts, and back of the heel, press into the floor, and then lower your toes down, but keep your thighs engaged. If they're not, lift up on your kneecaps, and then lift your sternum away from your pelvic floor. This should feel like a whole bunch of space just opened up in an area that is often collapsed. Okay, so lifting your sternum away from your pelvic floor, and then inhale your shoulders up to your ears. Press them back, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then pull your armpits down. So this widens and broadens the entire chest, lung area, shoulder, collarbones. And then if you turn your palms out, this rotates externally the way your humerus, arm bone, rests in the socket of the shoulder. And then turn your hands back. Let your chin float horizontal, parallel with the floor. Let your eyes focus on an imaginary horizon, and let the crown of your head float up. And why not have a little smile on your face? It uses less muscles than a frown. So feel the spaciousness as you feel rooted and grounded, with your upper body light and floating. So this is where, as I said, the sacroiliac, sacral joint is working, along with the ligaments, of course, when we're in a standing posture. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, turn the palms out, exhale. Now bend your knees. Bend your knees as if you were going to pick something up, not bending your back, you're bending your knees, bending at the hips, and then bring your fingertips tented on the floor, just in front of and outside of your feet. On an inhale, let the crown of your head float down and shine your tailbone up. Now, I can't go into the full extension at this today, but it's okay. I'm still feeling a great stretch. And then exhale, bend your knees, drop your hips. This is what's really important. Drop your hips, press your shoulders back. You're going to use your thighs to inhale and come back up. You're not using your back. Sweep the arms up and overhead. I thought Tech Guy might come and join us. Exhale. Now your feet need to be parallel. Parallel. Boy, did you fail math? That's pigeon-toed. Outsides of your feet are parallel. Look at my feet. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Turn the palms out. Exhale, bend your knees a lot. You're not bending at the back. Keep your chest lifted. Keep your chest lifted. Excellent. Excellent. Now feel your torso on your thighs. Tense your fingers on the floor. Inhale, lift your hips up. Let your head hang. Give your head a little bit of a swing. Don't hold it. And then exhale and bend your knees and drop your hips. You're in that tuck position. You're tucking, your hips are as low as they could possibly be here. And then inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up and overhead. Exhale, float the arms down, taking up lots of space. Turn your feet so they're parallel. The difference is if you try to bend with your feet turned out, then your knees are splayed out. We want to align everything, your ankles, your knees, and your hips. We should have two videos, one how to do it, one not how to do it. That would be Tech Guy. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, turn the palms out. Bend your knees a lot. Keep your torso high. Keep it high, keep it, yes. And then with your knees bent and your hips bent, tent your fingers on the floor. Inhale, let your head go down as your hips go up. And exhale, drop your hips, drop your hips. Feel your belly on your thighs, feel your chest on your knees. And then lengthen your spine on an inhale. Sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up and overhead. Exhale, float the arms down. Let's do this 2 more times. And doing this slowly, you're using far more muscles. Inhale, your thighs should be engaged. Lift those kneecaps up because you're working your thighs. Turn the palms out. Exhale, bend your knees. Keep your chest up. Keep it lifted. Yes, not just your chin, your entire chest. Now bring your entire torso onto your thighs. Let your fingertips tent on the floor. Inhale, lift your hips, stretching the backs of your legs. Be mindful, of course. Let your head hang. Exhale. On the exhale, you're bending your knees. You're bending at your hips. Your entire torso should be resting on your thighs. Press your shoulders back, lengthen your spine, and then inhale. Begin to come up using the power of your thighs, sweeping the arms out to the side, up and overhead. Exhale, float your arms down. Your feet are still pointing. Inhale, up. Make sure your feet are pointing forward. Exhale. This is the last time. Make it beautiful. Fingertips tented on the floor. Inhale, lift your hips up. And breathe here and just grab your elbows. Take hold of your elbows. You can keep a soft bend in your knees here. And just do a little bit of swinging from side to side. So your feet should be about 1 fist width apart. If they're too close, you don't feel balanced. And if they're too far apart, you lose the integrity of having your hips, your knees, and your ankles in alignment. Check in with your neck. So a little bit of swinging from side to side like an elephant might do with its trunk, to spray some water to wash its feet or cool it off. Okay, Now, bring your fingertips back down onto the floor. Let's bend the right leg. Place your right hand on your left instep. Inhale and sweep the left arm up, reaching up. So you're twisting now your upper back. Stretching up, opening and stretching the rib cage, intercostal muscles. Exhale, float that arm down. Let's bend the left leg, straighten the right. Place your left hand on top of your right foot, your right instep. Inhale, sweep that right arm up, reaching up and stretching up. Now you may feel some tightness in your upper back here. Just breathe into it, reaching up, exhale, and float that arm down. Let your head hang. Now bend your knees a lot. Bend your knees a lot. And then sweep the arms out to the side as you use the power of your thighs to come back up. Sweeping the arms up and overhead. Exhale, float your arms down, taking up lots of space. Okay, and let's start with some really good standing postures too that also support this really firm area in your back. We're going to transition from Trikonasana to Ardha Chandrasana, so triangle pose to crescent moon, back to triangle pose, and then Parsvottanasana. So this is all really helping to stabilize an area that loses its stability when we spend a lot of time sitting, which of course we do. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my blocks, and if you have, I hope you have blocks, just place them up at the front of the mat. Here's a block for you. There we go. Good catch. All righty, so put it at the front of your mat. And you don't have a mat. We're not too organized here. But there's a mat. Here you go. Blankets don't work. Take that. Sorry, everyone. I never know when tech guy wants to participate. But I think I got his attention this morning when I said things being out of alignment can cause sciatica. Not a good time. Okay, so spread your feet wide apart, about one leg length. And then turn I'll do the mirror image. So turn your left foot forward 90 degrees. Left foot forward 90 degrees. Your back foot, just pivot on the ball of the foot, take your heel back so that your foot's about 20 to 30 degrees. You should be taking your socks off. We should be barefoot on our mats, okay? And then make sure you have your alignment right, that your heel is creating a straight line through the arch of your back foot. Your legs are going to stay straight. Once again, let's engage the thighs by lifting up on the kneecaps. Engage your thighs. All right, inhale, sweep the arms up to shoulder height. Not higher, lower your shoulders, fix your gaze over your front left hand. Okay, I'm doing the mirror image for you. Now, reach forward, not down. I didn't say bend your knee. Keep your legs really straight. Bend forward, keep your shoulders nice and low, keep your legs straight, you're not bending any knees. And then let your front left arm come down inside of your front left leg and reach the back arm, right arm straight up towards the sky. Now, some people like to overreach here and lose the integrity and the alignment. Don't go there. So stay up. It doesn't matter how low you go. You should feel this through your obliques, working your core. Reaching up and stretching up. Now, lower the back arm and bring it onto your back, hip, and thigh. Look towards the front of your mat. Bend your front left leg. walk the back leg slightly forward, and then shift your weight onto your front foot. This is where your block, or maybe if you have a chair or something handy to grab onto, you're going to shift all of your weight onto that front left foot, lifting the back right leg off the floor. Keep your gaze down at the floor. And then lifting your back arm straight up, Ardha Chandrasana, strengthening the lower back, strengthening your thighs, the hip joints. There's lots going on here. Try to open the front of your chest to the side of your mat. Breathe. So you'll notice there's a little more yin aspect than yang in this class. Holding poses a little bit longer. And then bend the front leg, step the back leg back, come back into Trikonasana. So legs need to be much wider apart. One leg length, your front foot needs to press forward, straight forward. Okay, now we're going to bend the front leg. Bend the front leg. Bring your front forearm onto that front thigh. Take your back arm down in front, around and over your head. You may want to scooch your back foot further back, and then blossom and open your chest to the side. The palm faces the floor. It's very active. There's a line of energy from the outside of your back foot, all along the side of your body, and out through that top arm. So you're really reaching and stretching, grasping for something. And breathe. I hope this feels good for your lower back, because mine has been hurting for quite a few days and it feels awesome. So there are things we can do even when we have an injury, if we know what to do to help support it, not harm it, strengthen it. And inhale, straighten your front leg. And let's do one more triangle pose just because we can. So once again, we're going to reach over the front foot, reach as far as you can, and then hinge and let your front arm fall inside of that front foot. Now, sometimes you will see people will use a block either inside the front leg or outside. I prefer inside, just feels more balanced. And then I feel I can open up my chest a little more. Please only use that as a little bit of support. Don't let your weight sink into it. The energy is going up, stretching up, reaching up, breathing. Feel the muscles that you're working. Most of them by now, huh? Inhale, come on up. And then turn your feet so they're turned out. And inhale, exhale, forward fold, halfway. So imagine again that broomstick on your back. You're not rounding at the sacrum, you're keeping your back nice and firm. Now I'm putting a block on the floor because I don't want to bend any further than I am. And then I'm going to sweep my left arm up, reaching, stretching, twisting. One more inhale. Exhale, float that arm down. Let's inhale, sweep the other arm up, reaching, stretching. So you feel this in your inner groin, inner thigh. This is important for learning how to sit comfortably in cross-legged position and float that arm down. And then bring your hands onto your waist. Come on up and let's do the other side. So pivoting on the feet so that now your right leg is 90 degrees forward. I'm going to put my block in place. And then my back foot about 20 degrees forward, and we're aligning the heel with the arch of your back foot. This is just really helps us feel grounded and in alignment in this posture. Inhale and sweep the arms up. Exhale, lower your shoulders down. When you lower your shoulders down, you can feel a little bit of a lift here in the sternum without bringing your rib cage out and forward. And now reach forward. Keep reaching forward until you can't reach any further. And then let that front arm fall inside of your front leg. Reach that top arm up and smile. Trikonasana, triangle pose, strengthening the legs, the hips, the ankles, but focusing on the lower back. So keep reaching up with your top arm. 2 more breaths. Breathing through the nose if you're not plugged. And on your next inhale, 1 more reach. Exhale, float that arm down, and then bend your front leg. And again, when you're bending your knee, you want to make sure your knee is over your ankle. Same rules apply for so much of what we're doing. And then walk that back foot forward. Have your block in a position where you can rest your hand on it. And now slowly, and take your time for balance. You're not on my schedule, you're on yours. Transfer all of your weight onto that front foot, lifting the back leg up. Now you're opening the pelvis forward to the front of your mat. And then if you feel balanced, lift that top arm off the floor. You can also take your hands off the floor or off the block if you wish to really check in with your balance. Breathing, focusing your gaze. If you fall out, slowly come back in. Okay, now bend that front leg and step the other leg back. And let's return to triangle pose, Trikonasana. Now bend your front knee. Again, make sure, look down, see your big toe inside of your knee. Bring your forearm onto the thigh. Again, you may wish to scooch your back foot down further away. Take your back arm down, around, and over your head, so it's over your ear, and then try to blossom your heart center towards the front. And reach with that top arm. So it's not just hanging out, it's doing something. If I was in the room with you, you know what I'd do. I'd come over and I'd put my hand in front of your fingertips and I'd say, press into my hand. Some of you remember that. Keep pressing into the outside of your back foot and breathe. Parsvottanasana, side angle bend. Excellent for strengthening the lower back, which gets chronically weak from sitting. This has nothing to do right? You're sitting. It has very little to do compared to what we're doing, what it's doing now. It's supporting you. It's stabilizing your core. Okay, let's inhale. Straighten your front leg. Arms are shoulder height. Let's do one more Trikonasana. Reach your front right hand as far as you can, and then hinge and let it fall inside of your front right leg and reach the top arm so that it is directly, as much as possible, above. Be mindful, if that doesn't feel good on your shoulder, your front leg stays straight. Open your chest. Reaching up. Stretching up. I miss doing all this with you guys in person, believe me. But I think this is so much better than not doing it. Okay, let's inhale. And then walk. If you want to jump your feet together, I don't. All right. And let's come back into Tadasana. So once again, in Tadasana, your feet are about 1 fist width apart. The reason for that is so that your heels, so be your fist, so your heels will be lining up with your sits bones, your ischiotubers. We're going to be checking in with these in our seated poses. But just let's remember the importance of Tadasana. It's not just a simple standing posture. It is perfect alignment is what you're going for. So lift your toes off the floor. Feel your big toe mount, baby toe mount, center front of your heel. I want you to think about this when you're standing in a lineup or you're standing even talking to somebody. I mean, you don't have to be thinking too hard about it, but just be aware. And then lower your toes down. Keep your thighs engaged. Notice that when your thighs are engaged, it has the effect of dropping your tailbone down, because sometimes this pelvic bowl is spilling forward or it's spilling out the back. We see all of this. In fact, when I injured my back, that's exactly how I felt. Like I was just spilling everything out the back because it just felt better that way for the first 30 or so hours. All right. So inhale, lift your sternum away from your pelvic floor. Shoulders up to your ears. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. In fact, let's bring some arms behind the back. So you really get that squeezing of the shoulder blades. And then release your arms down by your sides. Pull your armpits down, lower your shoulders away from your ears. Let your chin float horizontal, parallel to the floor. Eyes can be open or closed, fixed on an imaginary horizon. Your thighs should be really kind of like rock solid here. Both the fronts, the sides, everything's engaged. And the crown of your head is floating upwards. Rotate your palms forward just to further open up the front of your body, and then you can bring your palms back. Great. Okay. Give your legs a little shake out. You feeling stronger? Like more connected? All right, we're going to come down onto the floor. This is where you'll want a cushion for your buttocks. Some of you have bought the Runa, but anything will work, because typically, and maybe I'll sit sideways again. I have to move slowly here until we get, okay. So typically, if I try to sit up straight, or if you try to sit up straight, without something under your hips to lift yourself up, it's very difficult to keep this area of the body in integrity. So it should be concave, that lumbar area. So sitting in Dandasana, not impossible. Some of you may be able to do it, but it doesn't hurt to put something underneath your buttocks to get your hips up a little bit higher. That rotates your pelvis forward, which allows a greater ease in your back. Now pull the flesh away from your sits bones, your ischial tuberosities. Your legs are together. When you flex your feet, you activate your leg muscles, right? So let your feet go lax and now flex them. Notice the difference. It's obvious. Okay, so in Dandasana, place your hands on the floor, sitting sideways so you can really get a good picture of what this is all about. Now, some of us have longer arms. I don't want you to, if putting your hands on the floor raises your shoulders, then bend at the elbows, please. Lower the shoulders away from the ears. Gently pull your navel in towards your spine. Let the crown of your head float up. Your chin is neither tucked nor jutting forward, but your ears should be over the center of your shoulders. So again, gently pull the navel back towards the spine. Keep the feet flexed. Dandasana, or staff pose, is the basis of all seated postures. Keeping the sternum lifted. So you can see it's quite an active pose. And please don't be critical of how you're doing or how this feels. Just be aware, be the witness. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reaching up, stretching up, maybe even looking up. Now exhale, you're hinging from the hip joint, not the waist, hip. So inhale, reach up, exhale, fold forward. Keep your spine nice and long. I know there's a tendency to want to round the spine and then lower the head and feel like, I'm really into this, I'm getting it. No, keep your spine nice and long. Reaching the arms up, you're strengthening the shoulders, opening up the upper back. This area gets very tight, very tense from being seated in front of our electronic devices. One more inhale, reach and stretch. Exhale, forward fold a little bit more. Don't do too much. We're all at different stages. Every one of them is valid. Paying attention, practicing with awareness, respect, and compassion. One more inhalation, reaching, stretching. And now, if you are able to take hold of your toes, please do so. If the ankles are it, also, if you have a belt beside you, and I know many of you will, you can place that over the balls of your feet rather than the arches. Inhale. And just pull yourself, lengthening your spine, aligning your neck, breathing. So clearly, this is a nice stretch for the lower back. If you're reaching with your arms, you're stretching through your shoulders and your upper back. It does not matter how far you go down. What does matter is that you maintain the integrity. So a gentle pull of the navel in towards the spine. One more inhalation. You might even come up a little bit to lengthen, open, exhale, leading with the hearts. Forward folding whatever amount you are able to. Normally I would be going further, but I am being cautious and careful and mindful. When we're holding our postures a little bit longer, it's nice to incorporate ujjayi breathing. So that's that sound in the throat. Just by narrowing the area at the back, or if you're, let's inhale, walk your hands back up your thighs, come back into Dandasana. I'll just remind you, ujjayi breathing, it's a cleansing breath, it's an energizing breath, it's also a centering, grounding breath. So the sound is like if you were trying to, you're blowing on a mirror or on glass to make a fog, or you do it with your eyeglasses. That's the sound. And there's a narrowing in the throat. So ujjayi breathing is simply that narrowing in the throat and breathing and making a little sound, lengthening the breath. So we've come back into Dandasana. We're going to transition into Jana Shirshasana. So in Jana Shirshasana, you can still keep something underneath your butt. I'm going to turn a little bit more towards you so you can see. So let's bend. Again, I'll do the mirror image. Bend your left leg and bring the sole of your foot inside of your right thigh. Now, if you have knee issues, blocks again are super useful for supporting the knee or thigh. So you can put it in any position if that's an issue, if you feel something. Again, bring yourself to the edge of whatever you're sitting on if you are. Flex the foot of the straight leg to activate the muscles. So this is now stretching and opening the left hip, inner thigh, and then strengthening the muscles of the right leg. And again, we're going to inhale, sweep the arms up, lift up out of your waist, exhale, bending from your hips. So you're lengthening and reaching up and forward as you fold. Whatever amount feels okay to begin with. Align your neck with your spine. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, folding. Be mindful if this is creating any pain in your bent left leg, then back off. Come back up or support the knee with a cushion or a block to relieve some of that pressure. Breathe into the area that may be feeling a little tight or tense. If your arms get tired in front, by all means, bring them around to the back, interlock your fingers, squeeze your shoulders together, your shoulder blades. And another inhale and exhale. Lowering the heart. Maybe lifting the arms a little bit, not too much. And then release your arms and place your tented fingertips on the floor and press yourself back up. From here, we'll do a variation of Lord of the Fishes. So bring that bent leg up and keep the foot flat on the floor. So rather than bringing the foot to the opposite side of the knee, we're going to keep it inside of the knee. All right. And when we twist, two things to keep in mind. The lower vertebra and the sacrum, as I said, they're designed to be stable. They don't have a lot of flexibility or mobility. So as we twist, you're going to lift your right arm up. Exhale, bring that elbow to the outside of the knee or around the knee, whatever is accessible, whatever feels best for you. And then when you twist, begin to inhale and lengthen first, and then exhale and think about spiraling up as you twist the upper back. and the cervical vertebra. And then place your left hand behind you as a prop. Keep flexing the foot of the straight leg. Inhale to reach up through the crown of your head. And exhale, perhaps twisting a little more in the upper area of the back and the neck. Keeping the spine long, strong, and breathe. Twist positions, of course, are helping clear the waste out of the body. I believe last week I talked to you a little bit about your microbiome. Today, I want to emphasize what it takes to keep a healthy microbiome. It's not difficult. It's called fiber. Fiber is found in legumes, obviously vegetables, fruit, nuts, seeds. There's no fiber in meat or dairy. One more inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, slowly come back and counter twist to the other side. Things like rice, quinoa. And the idea, and then let's change legs. So straighten that left leg out in front. Bang out the back of the knee if you need to. Bend the other leg, bringing the foot inside of the thigh. Remember, if you need support, place your block anywhere under that knee, and then lift yourself up so you feel your sits bones pressing either into the floor, into your cushion. Flex the foot of the straight leg. So of course, we're also working ankle joints. Lift up at your sternum. Your body is orientated towards the straight leg. Inhale, sweep the arm up, reach up, stretch up. Exhale, lead with your heart, lengthen your torso, reach through your arms, and just hang out in a forward bend. And whenever you feel that you want to, on an inhale, lengthen a little more, and then fold a little more. And if you wish, once again, you can use your strap here or your belt or tie, whatever it is you're using, around the ball of your foot. If you have shoulder issues and it feels better to either place your hands on either side of your straight leg, that's okay. Or if it felt good, interlock your fingers the opposite way that you did before. Your knuckles are pointing away from you, squeezing the shoulder blades together, lifting up. So whatever feels best, whatever it is, where your tension is, that you know by doing yoga, you're releasing while you stretch, strengthen, and improve your flexibility. Just keep breathing, inhale. So the thing about the microbiome is that there are more types of bacteria, fungi, virus material in us than there is human material or matter. The point I want to make is that we have this microbiome not just inside of our bodies. It's all over our skin. It's in all the cavities, the nose, the mouth, all the different cavities, all the different linings in the body. And when we eat a diet high in fiber, we feed all of the good bacteria. And this is the big point here. So, well, I'll tell you that in a moment. So let's walk the hands back up. All righty, then let's do our modification of Lord of the Fishes on the other side. So the leg that was out to the side is now bent with the foot flat on the floor next to and inside of the straight leg, as opposed to outside of it. Let's inhale the left arm up, reach up, stretch up, exhale. Either bring the elbow to the outside, but probably wrapping the arm around may be easier. Place the opposite arm behind you to prop yourself up. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. Now you're mostly twisting from the upper spine, upper back, and neck. So the big deal about eating a lot of fiber is that 70% of our immune system resides in the microbiome. If we keep it healthy, not much is going to touch you. I'm hoping to write my own little paper soon about this, not something I'm going to submit to the British Journal of Medicine or anything like that. It'll just be for you guys. But because I love simplifying things, but this is really important stuff. If you want to have the best of health in every possible way, taking care of your microbiome is the way to go, hands down, not my opinion. 50,000 papers have been written about the microbiome in the last 5 years. Scientists are really excited about it. Even mental health care professionals, because they're discovering the importance of the microbiome to produce things like serotonin, dopamine. It ties in with heart disease, diabetes. And one more inhalation, reaching up. And exhale, slowly twist to the other side. And here's the bonus. For those of us who love to eat, when you eat a lot of fiber and you eat it slowly and mindfully, you get full really fast. So typically people who eat a high fiber diet don't even have to think about what they're eating in terms of calories. Your body will let you know when you've had enough. Okay, alrighty. So let's now come into Baddha Konasana. Oh, actually, I forgot. I was going to ask you guys to sit. You know what? Let's do this now. I was going to ask you right at the beginning to try to sit cross-legged because I wanted you to check in. So again, have a cushion under your butt, but just see what it feels like. I'm not going to do the mirror image because the way to do this is to bring your left leg in first, bring the heel in towards the perineum, and then bring the other heel in front. And just see how that feels. I've been sitting like this for a long time. But for some people, it's super difficult. Once again, we're not going to stay here. I just wanted you to check in with this. I was going to do it before we started this seated posture so you would see whether or not you help to loosen things up. And you're sitting nice and tall. And listen, cross-legged position is not for everybody. Some people are just going to say, it just doesn't work for me. I get it. It's okay. But nothing lost here because you are stretching, strengthening, and releasing tension from muscles from sitting. So we're going to do our actually, let's unfold the legs and just, my lower back, and bang out the backs of the knees. And then bring the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana. Sitting up tall, For those of you who are nice and flexible, you might be able to open up your soles of your feet the way you would a book. But for those of us, if your knees are high, don't even think about that right now. Just think about lifting your sternum up, lifting your sternum while you're still perhaps holding on to your feet or your ankles. So this is an excellent stretch, obviously, for the inner thigh groin muscle that you don't want to tear. It's supposed to be one of the most painful. And mobilizing hip joints, knee joints, sitting up nice and tall. And then if you're able to fold a little bit forward, and in this case, you can keep the back straight or you can round it, because compression of this area is excellent for reproductive organs and glands and the abdominal area. So folding forward. And again, when you're sitting in this posture, and this is a posture that people in India sit in all the time, cobbler's pose is what they call it. They have very few urinary tract infections, so this is also excellent for the urinary tract. Gives a little stretch to the kidneys in the back of your body, which are your major filtering system. It is super important to nurture your kidneys. And remember, I think it was last week I said, when you stamp your feet, that stimulates your kidneys. Just don't do it in an apartment or on a second floor if somebody's downstairs below you, unless you want to get their attention. Okay, so feel the stretch in the inner groin. You feeling it, tech guy? Are you breathing? Make sure you're breathing, folding forward. Inhale, come on up. Okay, then bring both knees over to the side. And we're going to sit in thunderbolt pose, Virasana. But before we do that, we haven't done this lately. I know you love to stretch your toes, right? So curl your toes under. You're on your knees. Sit back if you can without holding onto a chair. So your toes are curled under. I know it's an incredible stretch. Great for your plantar fascia on the sole of your feet, which they take so much pressure. I mean, we have so much to be grateful for when it comes to our body, but we can't really feel grateful until we lose it, until something happens. Okay, that will do. And then we'll do one more seated posture, and we're going to come onto our backs. You'll want a block for this. So in Thunderbolt, you're going to bring your knees together, but your feet are wide apart. And you're going to flatten the tops of your feet. Flatten the tops of your feet. You're going to use the block. Some of you can sit between your legs, but that's not the point. The point here is to stretch the front of the foot. Unless you're a ballerina, that area just never gets stretched. But if you sit in Thunderbolt, knees are together, feet are outside. So an intense stretch for the ankle and the sole of the feet, which also again helps with us having the ability to sit cross-legged. Oh, and by the way, a product that I really think I hurt a bone, not muscle, but Trauma Care. It used to be called Traumeel. It's a homeopathic remedy. It works really well on sore muscles. So I think it comes in a box. It's available at a quality apothecary or drugstore. Trauma Care. I believe it's made in Quebec as well. So this can just really work miracles on sore muscles. Okay. So how's that feeling on the fronts of your feet and your ankles? You might be able to lower down, but let's come out of this and let's come on to our backs. I want to suggest we do a supported bridge, although if you have nothing to put underneath your back, don't worry about that. But bending your knees, placing the soles of your feet on the floor, the brick block, I should say, on your sacrum. Remember, there's all different heights. Find the spot that's comfortable and then just let it go. Let everything go here. So there's a slight inversion. Blood pools at the base of the spine. It's just nice to invert, lift your hips higher than your heart, assist with blood flow going further up rather than always just down. And just breathe here, relaxing your arms. Close your eyes. If you want to get more exercise for your legs, your hip flexors, your lower abs and your quads, you can lift one leg straight out in front of you. Holding it there. Keep holding. Then bend the leg and place that foot on the floor. And then inhale the other leg. So you're working your lower abs, your hip flexors, and the fronts of your thighs. These are all important for walking, getting up and down out of chairs. And release and remove the block. Coming onto your backs, draw your knees up in towards your chest, one hand on each knee, maybe a little rocking from side to side. Whatever feels good here. You can actually rotate your femur bones in your hip socket, so making circles. Changing the direction. And then slowly and carefully extend your legs out in front. Lift your shoulder blades up, tuck them under, tilt your chin towards the center of your chest. Close your eyes. Turn your palms up in the open and receiving position. Separate the biting surfaces of the teeth. Relax your jaw. And let your body be soft and heavy. Notice your breathing. So if some of those postures were difficult for you, know that you can always come back, practice again. Practice makes progress. Your body has an incredible memory. Your body has a really miraculous ability to be self-healing. We just have to know what to do, what to feed it, how to move it. The body's designed to move. If we're not moving, we're going to lose it for sure, hands down. So I'm going to read you a little piece on signs and symptoms of inner peace. These are the signs and the symptoms of inner peace. A tendency to think and act spontaneously rather than be motivated by the fears that have come from past experience. Another sign is an unmistakable ability to enjoy each moment. A loss of interest in judging others. A loss of interest in interpreting the actions of others. A loss of interest in conflict. A loss of the ability to worry. Frequent, overwhelming episodes of appreciation. contented feelings of connectedness with others and in nature. Frequent smiling. That'll make people wonder. The feeling of a full heart with love overflowing and spilling out to people you meet, including those you don't even know. Those are some of the signs and symptoms of inner peace, which is exactly what I wish for you today. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.